Hello everyone. Well, as you know, I'm in Jakarta right now, and this episode I wanted to talk about something I've been thinking about during these days of the week because I was so lucky that I had an invitation from my friend and colleague um, Anthony, who is facilitating and teaching English to kids on the streets here sometimes. They are not kids from the streets, they are kids who works in the streets. And I was so happy to be a part of it last Saturday. And I had never had contact. I don't have so much contact with kids, and it was really an enlightening experience for me. I could learn a lot from myself, from my colleagues, from the kids. It was actually really good, and I hope I can go back in the future to that place. And well, one thing that kept me thinking about this experience is that after I left the session, I was actually did know a lot of English. At least they could read and they could do the exercises without any problem. So easier for me because I still don't know Indonesian. So it was kind of hard to communicate in Indonesian, but they already knew English. So of course with signs and with that kind of thing. And I think the most important thing for me now that I understand is I actually feel I facilitated their own learning for them instead. So as I'm also about to I'm preparing a session for the people I work with, which are interested in knowing more about facilitation. That's why I've been thinking several things from that experience and also how I can extrapolate to the facilitation session I'm about to facilitate, of course. And then I thought, I was, for example, when I was teaching or talking to these kids, I really understand that when you facilitate or when you teach, even when you give a workshop, when you talk to people, in any case, in this case, we are talking about teaching and working and that kind of thing. But when you talk to people, the most important thing you have to keep in mind is to be deeply connected to them. As my mentor always says, that's the most important thing you can do for another human being. Be there. It doesn't matter if you don't understand even the language sometimes, but just being there, being open minded, staying in front of them, and being deeply connected is the thing that does everything. Actually, if you are just connected and you know nothing about the things you are doing, of course, you have to know certain things, but um, I feel like that's the main thing, at least for me, being in connection with people. So yes, you can talk a lot, you can know many things, you can try to put things in their head, but that doesn't actually work like this. So anyway, I'm getting a bit ahead with this. So what is facilitation actually? For me, I say that facilitation is technically being able to guide people into their thing, whether it's a workshop, whether it's I don't know, a session or a learning session, like in this case I was telling, but just being there and maybe guiding a little bit, maybe timekeeping sometimes also, um, being able to ask questions. It's kind of like coaching, asking questions, make them reflect on the things they are saying. And I think as a facilitator, the most important thing for that is to be present in the moment. If you had asked me, I don't know, 3 years ago, maybe I I have said, yes, you have to teach, and you have to ask people, and you have to lead them in certain direction, and you have to do this and this and this from a technical perspective, right? For the tips or the top 10 things you can do for helping others. But if I had to choose just only one, as I was saying, connection is the most important one. Being present for that people in the moment. I could see, for example, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I actually thought at first, oh, maybe I'm doing wrong because I'm not doing the same things that other teachers are doing. For example, I could see teachers who didn't understand Indonesian, the language here. They sometimes had their phones and looked for translations, and I say, oh, maybe I should have done that to make the kids understand better and that kind of thing. But then I reflected and I realized that actually they already knew their assignments. They could read well English. So I didn't need much explanation, but being there for them, and also try to understand where they were blocked or where they were stuck sometimes, and just talk and be there, right? Um, and maybe that's also, and I'm not saying yes, I did everything right, because I don't know if I did or I didn't. But I'm talking from my experience. What I've learned is that being in connection with people, with any human being, kids, adults, anyone, is the most important thing you can do for them, because they can learn what they need to learn, and what they are prepared to learn on their own. That's the idea. So teaching is different from facilitation, because teaching is staying in front of them, being the teacher, being the one who knows. For me, okay, maybe some teachers might disagree with me, but that's my view, my experience, and we can discuss about it. So I'll just take what I'm thinking right now about this. And I've been a teacher too. I consider myself a teacher, because there are some times that you have to teach some things that are unknown. But if the person already knows something, but trying to put more knowledge into them is not necessary. Maybe you can spark their own ideas, you can spark their own insights just by being there, paying attention, listening. And don't worry, your questions, the things you need to say or know, will just come out to you. And as I said before, if you had asked me a few years ago, I don't know what would I have said. Maybe yes, teach and do this, and first a title, and then make them discuss about this and that. But right now, I try to be more connected to myself first, so I'm open enough to understand what's the situation, what are the people's needs, and how I can do about them. How can I help them? Or maybe not help them, just be there, right? So that's, for me, is facilitation. And teaching, on the other side, as I think that teaching is telling them, you have to teach, of course. If they know nothing at all, you can teach, because they cannot build anything if they don't have the minimal or necessary knowledge to build upon. But if they know something, you can just be there and make some questions, try to understand what they are thinking or doing, and just be there to give a minimum guide. Sorry. That's actually what I try to do when I work with people, or when I even talk to people. I try to be, as I say, present, but it's not a mindfulness thing, as I always say. It's not about being an enlightened person or that kind of thing. It's just being you, paying attention, staying aware of the surroundings, and also about what are the real needs of people. So, even I know I have rambled around, um, what I've learned so far is that, of course, facilitating is great. I feel like if you facilitate and it's just some kind of help just to spark ideas on people, and also believe that people have their inner knowledge, their inner capacities to come to come up with their own insights. um, I believe every person I work with, they know what they are doing. First of all, as a coach, working with teams and with executives, with C levels and all kind of people, even with children now. I do believe they already know and have the capability to learn on their own. So you don't need to impose or to try to fill in more things uh, in their brain. They already know what to do. So you just have to be there for them and try to understand what they are doing and why they are doing the things they are doing. And in the case of teaching, yes, I do teaching sometimes when I do trainings from scratch, when people know nothing about the things we are going to talk. But it's just for a few hours sometimes, and then I try them for themselves to come up with questions, to come up with ideas, to compare, to contrast, even to be able to think outside the box, as we say, or to think differently and come up into the discussion and say, no, I don't think you're right. I think you're wrong because of this and this and this. And maybe I am. And we can discuss and build upon that. Maybe we can, instead of going from A to B, we can go to a C place, which is even better because we understand the risks, the downsides of the things we are saying. We can have this collective knowledge and can be actually even better than you first thought. So I've also this I don't know if this actually relates exactly to it's more than related to teaching than to facilitating what I'm about to say. Sometimes I've heard some trainers say, or teachers, no, people are just stupid, so I have to tell them everything. And of course, that's not true. I always try to walk into a workshop and to say these people already know a lot of things, maybe more than I know. So I will try to help them make the best out of their own knowledge and also learn from them, because there are so many things I don't know, especially when I walk into a new team, for example, or to a new situation, like in the case of these kids. I just walk in with my mind in blank and see what happens, right? And so I realized that these kids were actually super smart and knew a lot of things, and I really liked the experience. And I also enjoy a lot working with adults because I know that they are already capable of many things. So, having said that, I think I'm work about a little out of topic, but once again, yes, you can teach. You can teach theory. You sometimes it's unknown for the people you are working with. or you are training to. But I would suggest that if you are a teacher or a facilitator, that you start little by little, walking more into facilitation, more into being enabler of conversations, of discussion, especially in groups. You can learn a lot from that. So you don't have to be the know-it-all in the sessions. You can actually be the one who knows the least, but you can enable this. It's like a switch that you do. You switch this spark into people, and they understand themselves better, and they can also improve and do more things on their own. And you can learn from that. You can extract experiences from everything you do. So anyway, if you had any comment about these things I've been talking about, facilitation, teaching, if you agree or if you disagree, I'd like to know, because I love to also to have these discussions and to see maybe my own blind spots. And also maybe we can unveil your own blind spots too, or we can get to a middle point where we can both learn and grow from that. So, well, I think that's mostly all. If you are trying to move into facilitation, try to be with your mind open, not thinking about anything, especially not thinking negatively. If you have to think something, just think positively. These people already know what they are doing. If they're doing this, even if you consider that thing wrong, it's maybe because they had no other choice. Maybe they don't know how to do it better, or maybe it's just they never thought about it. So it's your chance, your opportunity to make them reflect on that, and I'm sure it will be for the better. And maybe not at that precise moment, but maybe later. But it's just like planting a seed into people's mind. So have fun with that, and tell me if you have any comments about it, or leave your comments here below. And hopefully I will keep on doing these videos as soon as I can here. But I hope you enjoy this, and have a good night, have fun, and as we say here in Indonesia, terima kasih. Thanks for being here, and subscribe if you are interested in getting more videos. So bye, see you next